Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another show, another video. I thought I'd do the video tonight on Dr. Abdus Salam, how he was an atheist. Most Ahmadis are atheists. You look no further than the Islam Ahmadiyya Reddit forum. Reason on Faith, Sahel. He's probably a good dude. He don't like me because I'm Muslim. That's the only reason. Them dudes, he'd rather take the side of an Ahmadi versus a Muslim, and he sees all Muslims as terrorists and etc., bad people, and you name it. So, Dr. Abdus Salam, why was he an atheist? Well, factually, he never worked for the Ahmadiyya movement. He never held any office. He was never a guide. He was never none of that. Um, he grew up very privileged. He was the eldest son of his father, so the eldest son always gets special treatment. Um, so yeah, Doctor, why was he? He never wrote anything about Islam and science. He never wrote about the eclipses in Ahmadiyya. He never wrote about Jesus in India, the Yus Asaf theory. He didn't believe in no God. There's just no way. Dr. Abdus Salam, come on. And the woman he falls in love with is an atheist? Come on, and that's where he died. That's the house that he died in, was the woman. And then his son, who's just like him, Umar Salam, that's with the atheist woman. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if anyone's atheist or whatever. I just don't care. I'm just pointing it out that this is who this guy was. So he never wrote an essay about the Ahmadiyya movement, in support of the Ahmadiyya movement, any theory, prophethood, Isa. He didn't say how it's possible for someone to be alive for 2,000 years. Didn't say it. He didn't go into the creation story. How was Adam created, al-Islam? He didn't go into it. So there's so many things that this guy didn't do, right? And then check this out. In 1984, he gives a speech the day after Ahmadis were declared not declared non-Muslim. Ordinance 20 passed in 1984. The next day, this guy is giving a speech in France. He probably went to London right after and helped receive the Khalifa and etc. So the guy was an atheist. Most Ahmadis are atheists. Just look at the evidence. He never even wrote in support of Islam or Ahmadiyya, either, or he never supported either. Yeah, so that's the real story about Dr. Abdus Salam. And I was going to share my screen here and cover bits of my essay. Let's just go ahead and do that. So as you can see, he liked that busy lifestyle. He liked white women, alcohol, and a busy lifestyle. He didn't spend time with his kids. He didn't believe in that. He believed be busy, eat, drink. He never worked out. He never walked. He never ran. And Ahmadis talk about destiny or what's going to happen to you. This guy was diagnosed with a rare brain disease. I'm going to show you the very bottom of my essay here. Yeah, look, he was in 1989, he was permanently in a wheelchair. He living in Italy. Why is he helping the Italians? You see what I mean? Why does he enjoy European people and culture? His dad didn't. His dad only came to London for a few years and was like, I'm out of here. I don't even like this. Right? So, and he was never a Pakistani. He was born in British India. You don't just become a Pakistani. You see what I mean? You almost had to earn that title of do you want to be a Pakistani? So look, the last 3 years of his life, he was a mute. He died of a rare brain disease. So was that a punishment from Allah? See, all that's ridiculous, right? And then the only time he even ever got close, the only time he got close to writing about Islam was in 1984. He gave a speech at a banquet that Islam in the West and etc. And that wasn't published in any Ahmadiyya newspaper until 1995, when he's a mute, like he has no say in it. He didn't comment on 1984. He turned his back on his people in Pakistan many times. I got 3 times. 1954, the 1960s, and in 1974. All right, he even went to India in 1981, and it's really hard to go to India with if you have a Pakistani passport. They allowed him to do it. Ziaul Haq invited this guy on a secret trip to Pakistan, and know that the press did not cover. The Ahmadiyya press didn't even cover it. No press really covered it, so that there's a lot going on there. So okay, that's pretty much the expose on Dr. Abdus Salam. And if you didn't know, he was into alcohol. So I'm just gonna play the video here where his colleague talks about it.
A moment ago, you mentioned Abdus Salam.
Yeah.
Can I ask, was he one of those who was a genuine irreligious? I mean, I've heard it said he was a devout Muslim. I've always wondered about
Well,
that.
when I first met him, I visited Imperial College in the academic year 61, 62. He had a bottle of scotch in his desk drawer.
Yes.
So he
wasn't an observant Muslim.
He wasn't complete. And as the years went by, he gave up alcohol. But he belonged to a sect, the Ahmadiyya, I think that's what it's called. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. That has been officially declared heretic in Pakistan, his home country. And as a result, for many years, he wasn't allowed back into Pakistan. But he was quite religious about that. I mean, I regard all religion with a certain sense of bemusement. And the Ahmadiyya sect seemed even a little bit more peculiar than the other branches of Islam, but he was quite serious about it. He had two wives, one of whom an Oxford Don.
I know her, yes.
And the other is a very conventional Pakistani woman who lives in London. And they both came to the Nobel Prize in 1979, and they alternated appearances at the at the official events. It's interesting because although he was quite devout as a Muslim, he deplored the anti-scientific attitude that he found in the world of Islam. He told me that he had tried to get the states of the Persian Gulf, which are very oil rich, like Dubai and so on, Bahrain. He tried to get them to put money into building universities that would include a component of basic science. And he said that they were very resistant to that they wanted to go into technology. They were enthusiastic about technology, but they did not want to do fundamental science because they thought that was corrosive to religious belief.
Probably rightly so.
Yes, I suspect they're right.
But he didn't think that then. He didn't think it was.
No. His point of view was that of many well-meaning physicists I know in America who think, oh, there's no problem. Science, religion can happily coexist.
Yes.
I think, in fact, although it's a slow process and
okay, and final thing, Dr. Abdus Salam could have wrote about the moon. You guys remember I mentioned the moon and how the moon proves the existence of Allah because somebody had to put it there. There's no way that the moon is just there. And it's the size that it is. It controls the seasons. It makes sure everyone. So on Venus, say there was life on Venus, it could only exist around the equator because that's where it would be like warm enough. In the other areas, it wouldn't be warm enough. So because you need the moon it oscillates us back and forth for the seasons. So Dr. Salam could have explained that. He could have explained how there's no antimatter in the universe, which is a dead give off. Someone removed it. Who removed all the antimatter? It was Allah. And it was in a moment, not even a moment. Allah just told it to leave and it's gone. So as you can see, Allah only terraformed one planet. There's no other planet that's terraformed and perfectly ready for human habitation, only Earth. So, and there's so much he could have wrote about the bees. He could have wrote about the birds, the ants, the worms, The fish. I mean, he could have written about evolution. He could have written about so many things. You tell me that this guy didn't write about anything? Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Dr. Abdus Salam exposed. Assalamu alaikum.